And today I want to talk to you about this little box. We give these boxes away at gigs, and well, quite honestly, you look at a box like this and you want to see what's inside, but I better warn you now that in worldly terms this is a very unexciting little box. It's got a logo on the outside and it's got some Bible verses, but inside all it contains is a bag of wood ash. But there's a reason we give these boxes away, and it ties back to a little boy who lived in Bethsaida, Galilee 2,000 years ago. And he had heard that there was this man going round what we know as ancient Israel nowadays, who was telling stories and healing people and doing all sorts of things that really wound the Sadducees and the Pharisees up. But generally, this man was extraordinary because as far as this little boy was concerned, this man had time for children. And nobody in ancient Israel had time for children. So when he hears that this man, who turns out to be Jesus, is down on the beach by the Sea of Galilee and is speaking to a crowd of people, he's desperate to get down there and go and find out what it's all about. So he goes and he finds his mum and says, Mum, please can I go? He says, well, you've got your chores to do first of all. I want to see those done. And also I want to know that you're going to be back on time. And I certainly don't want to hear that you've been misbehaving while you're down there. And he goes off and he does his chores super quick and really well. He doesn't want to have to do anything again. And he comes back and he goes, Mum, I've done everything. I'll be really good. I'll be back by sundown. Please, 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 can I go? She said, yes, back by sundown, best behaviour. I've made you a packed lunch. Now, I should at this point ask you what was in the packed lunch, but I know that you're all saying loaves and fishes. So off he goes with his bag with his loaves and fishes in it, and he goes down and he finds when he gets down there that there are thousands of people there. We read in the Bible that there were 5,000, but we know that that was just the men. The women and the children wouldn't have been counted. So there could have been as many as 10,000 people crowding to hear Jesus. Now this little boy is just among them all, and he is swept up with what Jesus is saying, with the stories that Jesus tells, the wisdom that comes from those lips, from the look on his face of utter kindness. And he sees the miracles that Jesus did that day. And his life is changed. At that young age, his life is changed. But then he realizes that the sun is getting low in the sky, and sadly he knows he's going to have to break away and go home. And just as he's casting around to pick up his food, which he hasn't touched, and get ready to go home, Jesus says, we've got to feed these people. Has anybody got any food? Now you can imagine, we've all seen small children in class, and his hand goes up and he's really keen, he's really enthusiastic. I've got some. And then he realizes that he is the only one who's put his hand up. He's the only one in that crowd. And now somebody's laughing at him because he's just a kid. And it's worse than that because he's only got a few loaves and a few fishes. What good's that going to do? And this little chap has now gone a bit pink and a bit embarrassed, and he wishes he hadn't pushed himself forward. But he musters all his courage together, and he goes forward and he gives everything to God. Which leads us back to this little box, which, as I said, is full of ash. Now the thing is, most of our lives are full of ash, or what we perceive as ash. We've had words spoken over us that come from the world and get poured over our heads. You're too stupid, you're too clever, you're too white, you're too black, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too old, you're too young. All of them which condemn us and leave us feeling that we have nothing that we can do for God. But the point is that when you go forward like that little boy and you hand everything over to God, trusting him that it will be good enough for him, he will do miracles with you, over you, and through you that will set your life on fire. Thank you.